I thought you were going to do that.
You want to do one together?
It's fifth period. The party's fifth period. Get headphones and hear it. Let me hit that barbico. That barbico. Let me hit that barbico.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fifth Period, the film podcast hosted by two media teachers, where today, if you care to find us, look to the western sky, because we are feeling wicked, and everybody deserves a chance to fly. My name is Mr. Brown, and with me today is...
Mr. Boylan.
Very good. So he tipped me off that he had a good one coming up. I thought you were going to go for like Alpha Boylan or something like that, but that couldn't be beat. Really good. Really good. In addition to our discussion of Wicked today, we are also going to be talking through our weekly watches. So if you want to skip ahead to that, I will leave time codes in the description below.
Hi, I'm Carla. I'm Zach.
And I'm Callum.
And today we're going to be talking about Wicked.
A big thank you to Carla, Zach, and Callum today because they were just so enthusiastic in Film Club this week.
Oh, wow.
So we'd worded Zach and Callum up at the start of Film Appreciation Club, but Carla was a very nice surprise to be adding into the mix.
Oh, yeah. She earned that spot.
Oh, yes, very much so. So all three of them were sitting in the front row, and look, they were all doing a great job, but Carla just nailed every line, every action, the inflection, spot on. So it was
Pretty
a
good
delight to see.
I think she did, as I said to her, you're doing a really good job for seeing this for the first time. So it was great. So clearly a massive fan of Wicked. And the energy was high in Film Club in general, which is great, which we'll get to. But yeah, just a fantastic performance from all three. I haven't taught Carla and Callum before. Taught Zach last year, had a great time with him in
I'm
media.
teaching Zach at the moment.
Oh, fantastic. He's an absolute ripper. And all three kids have been have come along to Film Club at different stages.
Yep.
And they're always an incredibly positive presence when they are there. So to have them do the intro this week felt fitting, particularly with how well they performed in Film Club. And they were leading the charge with their performances of the songs that we could get to at lunchtime. And yeah, it was really great to have them on. So
yes, we did a bit of an abridged version of watching it so that we could skim through some of our favorite numbers, but all three of these guys did them such justice. So thank you very much, guys, for your continued support at Film Club, but such an enthusiastic start to today's pod. Alrighty, let us jump into Wicked. So we start with a very haunting opening. And I really like this because some of my favorite moments of Wicked are the really dark moments. And so to kick things off with almost like in a abridged version of an overture, we get like a couple of different parts of the songs. It's not quite as extensive as a full overture, but we get some really haunting themes, especially like the flying monkeys theme as they crash through the glass, and just the imagery completely draws you into the world immediately.
and also helps to do some connections with the Wizard of Oz, obviously.
100%. So yeah, when we see the characters from the Wizard of Oz kind of walking through the land, is the lion upright?
Couldn't remember.
I couldn't remember either, and it was really interesting because obviously we see some form of the lion in this as a lion cub, and it's a real anatomically correct lion. So it'll be interesting to see if they go for a more hybrid human-looking one in the second or not. I doubt they will, based on the way animals are presented in this.
Sure.
With the bears and the goats and things like that. But yeah, I just couldn't remember. It's such an iconic image of those four characters walking
Going to the
along.
Albert Road, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I'm just picturing the Wizard of Oz as opposed to what actually happened at the start of this.
And that's definitely a fair sort of jump to make. Obviously, there's a lot of shared iconography, and obviously in terms of the worlds that we get, but obviously what we get with Wicked is just the other side of the story, which is really good, and we get like a lot more sort of understanding in this, even just in the opening as we're sort of getting out of the witch's castle, basically, and we're seeing a lot of the propaganda posters that are sort of burnt, and then obviously this old thing on my head that's bobbling around. This is the
looks
exact one.
fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, this is from the movie.
Authentic prop replica, that one.
Authentic prop. It's authentically crushing my head, but we're getting through it. I am a big kid, as we said when you made the purchase. Thanks, Mr. Brown, for that.
My absolute pleasure, mate.
But yeah, we get sort of smash out the window with the flying monkeys and get these lovely sweeping views of Oz. And it's really fantastic. One of the things that I think the director, Jon M does really well, obviously coming from Crazy Rich Asians, In the Heights, Step Up 2 and 3, obviously.
Step Up to the Streets.
Yes, and Now You See Me Too as well, your favourite, as we've established in the last few weeks. He does a really good job, I think, of world building this and really filling out sort of what we get in the movie from the 30s, but also as well 30s. Have I gone right decade for that? Oh, cool. That's right. I always just forget because it's like this film looks too good to be
too good to look that old.
Yeah. It's almost like 100 years old. Oh my goodness. But there's a good element. There's enough practical things in this environment that make it feel fairly like well fleshed out. Particularly when we see the munchkins running through what's actually 9 million literal tulips.
Real tulips, yeah. So I wanted to talk the colour specifically, and for two reasons, it's really, really well done. The first being that it's a musical, and therefore it needs to be vibrant and colourful, and I really like it when musicals have that heavy saturation. We talked about it for The Greatest Showman.
Yes.
But the other thing about the colour in this, it feels very reminiscent of the original, with the original bringing in that Technicolor and everything looking so vibrant. A lot of films these days, because they're not shot on film, really wash out the colours, and it's so cool to be sucked into the world and just mesmerised by the look of all of those tulips in a row. I
think so. For this, it looks pretty good.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I would say the lighting can be inconsistent across the film in terms of getting certain things, but that's the only technical thing I'll really talk about. It could look a little bit better, but I think it looks pretty good still.
Fair enough. So we go into Munchkin Land, and they're not so mourning of the Wicked Witch of the West. No one mourns the Wicked.
No one does. No one does. They celebrate.
Except Glinda, maybe.
Like a little bit of mourning. But yeah, Glinda arrives, played by Ariana Grande, who I think is overall quite terrific in the role.
It sounded like you were about to have a butt to that.
No, I think that she does a pretty good job. I've heard interesting things from singers based on her singing, which is quite funny considering obviously she doesn't come from a large acting background. Some people say that she does the acting side of things is great, but sometimes misses a few things in terms of singing performance. Hey, but they're the singers, not me.
Yeah,
as we found out.
I'm no expert on this, but I even had the thought last night, as soon as she comes in at the start of this, I'm like, they're not messing around showing off her vocal range.
No, she's vocalizing, she's doing runs, and she rides in a bubble.
She does, and the really small character things that she does, like the facial expressions, the little wave to the children, this enchanting character that she completely embodies immediately.
Yeah, because this is a character obviously in the original movie we don't get a lot of time with, and when we do it's all from Dorothy's perspective as someone who is this magical, almost like fairy godmother type character. But obviously we start to find out more about this character and our origin, and she does confirm the news, and indeed the Wicked Witch of the West is dead. And we get our first full number, No One Mourns the Wicked, as you said. So
we get a little bit of a reference to the 12th Night quote about whether people are born wicked or if they have wickedness thrust upon them. I just wanted Channing Tatum to come in to deliver it with soccer ball under his arm.
Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them.
But they ask her some questions about how did she become the way that she is, and so we get a little bit of a backstory from her childhood.
Yes.
And basically we find out that her mum was a little bit of a floozy, sleeping around with...
having an affair with a very well-disguised and shrouded voice who may indicate there may be trouble ahead.
Yes, so Jeff Goldblum does do the singing part for this, but he's not standing in as the actor in this scene, so it does have an element of mystery. I'm not sure if you're supposed to recognize that it's him at this point.
He's got a pretty distinctive voice, so...
Yeah, he does, but I guess, these days, who knows? The kids won't necessarily know who's Jeff Goldblum is.
Yeah.
I really like how they're sitting on the piano almost in time with the music. It's very, very fun. I like the kind of potion aspect, the glowing green. It feels very much like the absinthe from Moulin Rouge.
Yes, sure. Haven't seen Moulin Rouge, but I'll take your word for it.
But what happens is that essentially Elphaba's dad is the wizard, and because she's been guzzling an absinthe equivalent,
a green type of concoction. Yes.
Yeah, she's born and she is green.
She's green. She green. And her dad loves it.
Oh my God. Can't get enough of it.
Yeah, can't get enough of getting rid of her.
Yeah, deadbeat dads.
Deadbeat dad.
Back again.
Oh, yeah. But that's okay. She's been raised by old Dulcibert.
Yeah. This felt very Paddington to me.
True.
Dulcibert, very caring.
Very Paddington. But we get a few indications that Elphaba may have a bit of a magic up her sleeve. Oh. That's my hand.
Wow, hey. That's as good as Jeff Goldblum's like pulled the coin out from behind the ear trick. We find out that it's kind of triggered by anger whenever she's upset or she really cares about something, because we meet Nessa shortly after.
Yes,
the kid that plays the baby version of Nessa, adorable.
Both the young versions of Elphaba and Nessa Rose are fantastic.
Really, really good. We don't get to spend much time with them, but it's a great little scene. Yeah. Some people are picking on Nessa, and Elphaba just kind of steps in and
like, hey, none of that.
I'm going to use my magic on you,
I'm going to use me Elphaba magic.
Me Elphaba magic.
I'm green.
Whoa. One more thing that I really like about this sequence too is the transitions. So even though this film is stretched right out from the stage show. So the film for part one, or just Wicked as opposed to Wicked for Good, thank you, goes for about the same length as the entire stage show goes for. And you would think that, especially if you're familiar with the stage show, that might feel like it drags a little bit, but it really doesn't. Well, I don't think it does. It's quite punchy, and some of the ways that they do that, they have these really nice transitions. So there's like a flip book, and that like turns into the world, and it kind of moves things along really, really quickly, which I love. There's some specific moments that I noted as, oh yes, you can see that this is one of the areas they've stretched out a little bit. Yep. But for the most part, I can't even pick where they do it, because it all just feels quite natural in terms of the way that it does flow.
Yeah, it's been a while since I watched the stage show. I saw it when it first came to Melbourne back in 2008. And I actually haven't had a chance to see it since. So I need to go back and compare sort of, potentially where they've stretched things and kept things fairly verbatim to the stage show. But no, things move along at a good little pace.
They do.
Which is great.
So we're back to Munchkin Land, and they're like, oh, tragic backstory. Burn the witch! Bring out the massive monument. They don't do things in halves, those Munchkins.
No.
Burn already!
I really like when she's trying to like keep up appearances, and they're all like, yeah, burn it. And it cuts to Ariana Grande, and she's like, yeah, woo! But yeah, she's about to take off again, and then someone kind of calls out to her. And
like, oi.
I'm not 100% sure of this, but I did hear that her like not hearing through the bubble, like the what, was an improv. Which, if that's true, mwah, because that is such a good moment.
It is good.
Someone asks, I heard you used to know each other, and that kind of kicks off our flashback to when they met at Shiz University.
And that's when our story begins.
I love that shot under the water.
Looks cool, yeah.
Looks incredible, and I really appreciate that the title card is a real nod to the original Wizard of Oz title. Some people have said it's the exact same type font. It isn't, because like the W's do look a little bit different, but very much reminiscent of the original title.
For sure. We'll love that. We love that. But yeah, we've sort of got to this flashback and where our story begins, and it's Garlinda rocking up at Shiz, which is a school. It's Wicca's version of Hogwarts, basically.
Yeah, with her doting parents.
Who are great. Who's
like, well, it's about that time. You're gonna miss me.
And her mum is played by someone who played Elphaba in the stage show as well. So
there you go. That's a fun detail.
Lots of little sort of. We'll get to a couple of big ones later, obviously.
Oh yes.
But yes, obviously is like, you're gonna miss me and everything like that. And she's like,
so much.
You could tell that she was like, she's ready to sort of take on the school as like the queen bee sort of character.
Absolutely. We also meet Bok at this stage, played by Ethan Slater. So very much art imitating life here as he comes in doting over Ariana Grande.
Why is that?
Well, because they're a real life couple.
Love that.
Which must make those scenes where she's like acting disinterested
Like, get rid
so
of
much
him.
fun to play.
Oh, incredible. Incredible. But he's great. Like, as Box One of the Munchkins, he's really, like, just got this positive naivety and it's like, and it's clearly fawning over Galinda.
I like to think strangers are just people I haven't met.
That sounds like a pretty
She's so
accurate...
profound.
yeah, just where did you get that one from? Jeez, Louise, Galinda.
But
yep.
Alphaba comes in
Yes.
and stuns everyone with her green skin. I always think it's funny, like, this is a magical world with talking animals and...
But they
it's
get freaked out about someone who's got
like,
green
with
skin.
green skin, yeah.
I mean, it is pretty different. No one else has green skin.
Yeah, I guess, but everyone's got their own little freaky quirk in
Everyone's
this.
got their own green skin of sorts.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, Elphaba does arrive, obviously all dressed in black, immediately
Yes.
sort of counteracting, acting as a really sharp contrast to the very bright and pastel-coloured world of Shiz.
Galinda even selflessly offers to, once she develops her magic, to assist her with that. And she's so good.
Yeah, helping with something that someone didn't ask for help with.
Yeah, and that she doesn't know how to help with.
Exactly.
She doesn't have the skills.
Classic. But also rocking up is Nessa Rose as well, played by Marissa Bode, who's the first person to play this character who actually does require a wheelchair and does have a disability. So,
Yeah, right.
Which is fantastic. I think she's terrific. She's one of my favourite parts of the film.
She is really good.
She's the heartbeat of this film, I think, a lot of the way. Obviously, she's got a bit more of an interesting part to play in the sequel.
Tragically beautiful.
Yes, or beautifully tragic, yeah.
I love those. Like, there's some really fun wordplay in this. But when she gets dropped off, her dad delivers a gift. So silver slippers. And this is really interesting. There's a few details about the silver slippers and why are they silver and not ruby and all this sort of stuff. In the original book for The Wizard of Oz, the slippers were silver.
Correct.
In the stage version of Wicked, they start as silver. And then when she curses them, then they turn red as a result of the curse.
Yes.
But they have released like footage of Dorothy wearing them in part 2 of this, and they're still silver. So whether they're just deciding to stick with that as a little nod to the original color, but there are plenty of references, like even the box that they're in is lined with rubies. And later on, when Ariana Grande is like going through shoes to hand
that's
out,
so good.
there's a ruby pair as well. So yeah, lots and lots of fun little nods to the movie and just all these behind the scenes details that they've kind of crammed into it, which is really cool.
It's superb. So Elphaba is basically chaperoning Nessa Rose to get all settled at Shiz, and then she's going to go away.
Yes.
And then we get to meet all the staff.
Madam Morrible.
Madam Morrible, congratulations, she says.
Congratulations.
How do you feel about the like the mispronunciation or the way that some of the words are pronounced in this?
I can take or leave.
I can take some and leave others. So I think sometimes it works really well, like especially with Galinda doing it, because it almost works for like the ditzy sort of personality type.
I'm the person who's running, like one of the key teachers at the school.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like,
Shouldn't have an education degree.
She presents as so like intellectual, and so just when you hear it,
Congratulations.
it feels quite jarring.
I'll pay that.
Yeah,
I'll pay that.
but you're right. She's really good. What I will say is that there's a couple of interesting choices in this film where they've cast for star power and they've cast based on like popularity for those actors at the time, but they're not necessarily singers. So Peter Dinklage is another one where his voice work as, what's the character? Dr. Dillerman. His voice work is incredible in the lines that he's delivering, but then once he starts singing, because you've got him going up against these incredible singing voices, you can tell you're like, oh, well, you're not a singer. And it's a bit the same with Michelle Yeoh.
That thankfully they don't have too much to sing.
Correct.
Which is good.
Correct.
There's a reason. Basically, as she's doing the introduction, she's obviously the teacher of sorcery, and it's clear that Galinda wants to. I'm going to make that mistake a lot. That Galinda wants to be taught by her.
I found it so funny that Bok is trying to see, and he's like, oh, I'm so short I can't see. And then it just cuts to Nessa in a wheelchair like, well, how do you think I feel, mate?
Yeah, it's like, okay, like a little bit of the start of their interplay, which we do like. Yes, and then once they work out sort of the dormitories, Kayla Settle from Greatest Showman, who's Kiala, thank you. Kiala Settle, who's in Wicked, does have a small role, but good to see someone from earlier in the 5th period from last year.
Yes, so I adore her in The Greatest Showman. I absolutely hate the character of Miss Coddle, which you're obviously supposed to, but everything about this character, they've gone like out of their way to make the worst. Even the accent is a bit like, oh, what's all this then? Kind of
like she'd be in Les Mis or something like that.
Yeah. What's it made to wear?
Coddle by name and Coddle by nature because
she whisks Nessa away.
Yeah, she's trying to really cater to her every need, but one of the things that Nessa wants is to be independent and break away from that, since her dad has coddled her entire life leading up to this point. So Elphaba steps in.
Just a slight gulch.
Some involuntary magic and chairs go flying.
Including Nessa's.
Yes, and nice little detail too where the mural crumbles away and then we get to see all the animals behind it, clearly showing what a big part they played in the school at the birth of it, but they've since been kind of plastered over and, trying to hide them away, which is obviously a massive theme of the film.
Definitely. Elphaba's sort of freaking out because she thinks she's sort of, everyone, she's trying to stay hidden, and Nessa's like, hey, I don't want any, like I don't want anything like this. But Morrible steps in and basically said, yep, hey, that was me. Just trying to keep you on your toes. I'm sure anything can happen at Shiz. That's fantastic. But very quickly, she wants to tutor Elphaba, much to the chagrin of Galinda.
Yes, so Galinda steps in almost as not knowing what she's volunteering for and ends up
rooming with her.
Yeah, exactly right. Then when she's like overwhelmed and like fainting, and then her little lackeys like pick her up and carry her away.
Get a pastry.
So Morrible and Elphaba bond a little bit, and she kind of makes her see that she is special and that she can go places, and those places might even lead her to meeting the wizard. And that's when we get The Wizard and I.
Great tune.
Really is. It's like it's a bit of a slower start. But then it does build, and it's a lot of fun. Like the facial expressions on Elphaba throughout, the way that she's kind of leaning on things almost like in a dream-like state. And I love when she starts interacting with like the mirrors and the colored glass. And so her skin goes to a more natural pink color as she's doing it. And it's really, really cool. Like this is what I mean about the use of color is not just great in its vibrance, but in its symbolism as well.
Key.
Really, really good.
Love it.
We get a bit of Goldblum foreshadowing.
Yes, sort of chiseled into the rock there.
I think I want that at my house. Just a big Goldblum monument.
Except like from Jurassic Park.
Yes, just leaning on side.
It's time for the roomies to start hanging out because after she's done having a good old sing.
How cool does that look when she's running through the field though?
Oh, it looks dope.
Bit of foreshadowing with her kind of like getting picked up by the wind as well.
Yes, a little bit of gravity defiance.
A bit too close to the edge of that cliff though for my liking.
Fair enough.
Imagine what a sad ending to the song that'd be.
6 feet from the edge.
The wizard.
No, Elphaba moves in, and Ariana Grande here is like, this is kind of like the banter between the two characters. It's just on fire.
I so enjoy air.
Yeah.
Wind past.
Toss, yes.
The little sign on the bed that says, it's great, and then she just says it. It's great.
It's great.
It is, and they start to really sort of get at each other.
Home about it?
Yep, and
Guess
quite literally.
what? I can't hear your guesses because this is a letter.
And we're pretty quickly into another song.
We are.
What is this feeling?
Which I always get confused and call it loathing.
Loathing.
It's a fun song. One of my faves. Look, there's really very few bad ones in the mix. We'll get to Jeff Goldblum's song a little bit later on, but with the exception of that one, most of them are pretty great. But this is a particular highlight for me. I think the choreography is really cool, especially the stuff with like the knife and fork.
So much really like it's stuff to the beat.
Yes.
It's just really snaps. It's great. It's really, really good.
And I like the split screen at the start as well, showing the two parallels between them.
Excellent.
But we go into Mr. Dillerman's class.
Dr. Dillerman.
Dr. Dillerman.
Oh my goodness, you get kicked out of the class for that.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
But yeah, Dinklage is, as you said, his voice work is superb. It usually is. And I love, the foreshadowing towards the animals being locked away. Obviously, a really key part, sort of
Taking
of
class time to push his own political agenda.
I mean, according to Glinda, it's just like, we're doing history. Why don't you keep looking at the past? I was like, brother, sister, please. Like, stop worrying about the fact he can't pronounce your name, which Alphabet rips for, which is great. And then she's like, the artichoke is steaming, and I'm like, all right,
Got her.
That's a zinger.
But people don't share his views, and animals should be seen and not heard. We get that scrawled on the blackboard.
Do we ever clarify who's actually scrolled that?
No, but it doesn't matter. Like, there's enough people against him there that it's a big old takedown, a big conspiracy.
It really is, and class is dismissed.
And we find out shortly after, because he basically has a meeting with some other animals, that they're losing their voices, and they're literally losing their voices, but it acts as a metaphor for people trying to keep them quiet.
Yeah, being silenced. Yeah, it's really good. Also, as well, just between that, we get a little lesson with Elphaba and Morrible, and also as well trying to practice the magic. And I like the foreshadowing as well of the shadowed, like, sort of clawed hand against the book, which is very like Wizard of Oz, which I love.
Yeah,
love
nice.
That's good. But yeah, the meetup happens with all the different animals.
Something bad is happening in Oz.
Yeah, there's a mouse, there's
It's like a cheetah.
or a bird, oh my. But
what a wasted opportunity. Good though. Good from you.
But as well, it's just like, I met up with a dear friend of mine, and whoever the female voice is like, a deer is like, no, a cow. It's just like, that's good. I like that. And then we get like a little song here called Something Bad.
And I'm glad it's a little song.
Yeah, because it's something
bad.
Yeah.
But shortly after this, we're introduced to Jonathan Bailey's character, Fierro. What a legend.
He's so good.
So good in this. So he almost literally runs into Elphaba in the woods.
He's riding a horse, same horse as Bridgerton.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he felt such an affinity to the horse during Bridgerton. He's like, nah, he's got to come along with me.
It's so good, though. Like, he's instantly quite charming and witty. Like, oh, you must have blended in with the foliage.
Yep. And then she's basically goes through like, okay, this is the automatic response to everyone freaking out about my skin, but he doesn't freak out the same way.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, and even she's like, this guy's a bit different. Anyway, I'm gonna leave now.
May we offer you a ride?
No thanks. Get stuffed.
Really, really nice introduction. Gets a little announcement as he comes into the school, and Galinda cracks out her retractable pumps. I love that. The heels that literally pop out of the shoe.
Yep.
And she gets her flirt on, and she gets it on hard. It's
Oh
so
my
good.
goodness, she's cranking it on.
Well, they both are. Like, the way they're walking around it, playing like a little cat and mouse game, and our first fight. Like, it's so fun. Walking away, and then the wind just blows as she turns around. Really, really fun.
Exceptional. And yeah, Fierro immediately sort of establishes his charisma and confidence.
Oh, yeah.
As Galinda is taking him through the school into like the Hall of Books, or however she describes it. She had no idea about the library, because why would she? But also as well, we see Fierro, with a nice reaction to Bok.
Yeah.
And
once again, the responsibility to corrupt my fellow students falls on me.
Exactly. And how best to corrupt than to sing?
Yeah, to sing and convince him to all go to the Ozdust Ballroom.
Yes,
which, as I understand it, is scandalocious.
Scandalocious. That's a good one. I'd like that.
Yeah. See, the ones that Galinda says work.
Yes. But it's time for Dancing Through Life, which might be my favourite song from Wicked. Maybe
So,
up there.
I said to you, I really like the dance moves in this song, but the way that I phrased it, you especially
really
appreciate.
weird.
I said they're not good in the traditional sense.
Jonathan Bailey can't dance in the traditional sense.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think they specifically try and do unique and different choreography in this. It's like almost Gumby type movements as he's going through. But it works. It looks really cool, and I really enjoy it. And as soon as everyone's doing things in sync, it doesn't really matter what they're doing because it looks great that they can do it in unison.
It's true. I do love the physical sets here with the rotating. It looks
the rotating
so cool.
library. And I like too when he's going around on it and it cuts to them all watching him and they're all like with their heads rotating around too.
It's just great. It's just really, really good. Setting up Bok, who likes Galinda,
Keep it. I cry a lot.
who's trying to get Bok across to Nessa Rose.
Yes.
And like trying to do it as like an act of kindness, but really is like, like get away from me. I'm focused on Fiero.
Yeah, 100%. And it's interesting that it's perceived as an act of kindness because that's how Nessa Rose takes it as well.
Yeah.
And then even says to Elphaba, oh, she's done this for me.
And I'm like,
yeah, I know.
it's like Nessa Rose.
But it
Come
kicks off a whole chain of events in terms of Elphaba then wanting to get her into Michelle Yeoh's class as well and doing something nice for her in return.
Yes.
And it's a nice little beat there as well. And you can see how excited Nessa is, which if you know the full story makes it all the more tragic.
Oh man, it sucks at the end.
Yeah.
Oh.
But we'll get there.
We'll get there next year.
Next time, yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably do Wicked for Good. Probably. Hey, it could be this time next year.
I hope so.
I'm down with that.
Suggest it.
I'm sure Carla, Callum, and Zach would also be appreciated too.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Have a good old belter for good.
So they are going to the Ozdust Ballroom, and Galinda gets worded up by her friends to give them this old thing.
I couldn't possibly hate someone that much. And they're like, I think you do.
Very, very funny when she comes in and they're trying to think of an excuse for why they have to leave. Oh, I've got to go rouge my knees.
We get the continuation of Dancing Through Life in a more instrumental sense. Great animal band as well. Oh my goodness, they're crushing it.
Felt like we were watching a cantina scene from Star Wars.
Or like from like Aquaman or something like that when the octopus is playing the drums. Yeah, that's the kind of vibe I get. And hey, it's a good time.
It is a fun setting. It kind of looks like it's underwater. Like the in the ice, there's like moving water and fish and... Yeah, just a very magical place. And
cool.
Galinda very quickly regrets giving Elphaba the hideous hat by the fact that Michelle Yeoh comes in and offers her a place in her class.
Yes.
She realizes, she's done a nice thing for me and then I've screwed her over.
Yep.
But it's too late.
No, it's too late. Because Eva as well, we get Bok. He is kind of realizes he's lost his chance with Galinda, that she's not really that interested in him. He's almost like, you'll do, basically, to Nessa Rose. And it's like, okay, cool. And then she's like infatuated with him. So it's like quite hard to sort of watch. But Elphaba has rocked up and everyone is laughing at her because of the hat, which I generally, again, you think about like people laughing at someone for green skin. I don't think that hat's that bad.
Well, have you seen what everyone else is wearing?
Exactly.
Bunch of freaks in there.
What are you wearing? What are you all wearing?
But essentially she comes in and she's not going to let them seemingly get to her. So she goes into the middle of the dance floor and does a solo number. And this is really nice. Like,
It's a powerful sequence.
He says something like, she doesn't give a twig what anyone thinks. And then Ariana comes in, of course she does.
Yeah.
Just pretends not to.
And this is the thing, and it's like, it's a really powerful sequence, and I think the absence of sound here is really good. And eventually, while Elphaba is dancing, Galinda makes the decision to join her on the dance floor and to basically join her in the dance. And it's a really beautiful moment. I think she realized it, and it was always like, I was used to think of like, is this about the optics of this and what this does for Galinda? But really, she's sacrificing a lot of her own sort of social currency to do this.
Yes, and I like they take the time to show her friends being like, no, you can't
like,
do this.
What are you doing? She's like, nah, like this is the right thing to do. And it's really powerful. And you can see Elphaba crying as well when they kind of like hold hands. And it's a great sequence.
So this is one of the moments where in the stage show, it happens in an instant. It is really stretched out in this scene and for the better.
It takes the time for good.
Yeah, right. And the reason that I think you can afford to do that in film is that because you can do close-up shots, you can stay with the emotion longer. Whereas in musicals on Broadway, they're like, sing the song, clarify all this information in the lyrics that you're singing, and move on. Like, so things just naturally move quicker. But yeah, as you say, the shedding of the tear, it's a really powerful moment. It's great. They do the wave, which comes back later. I love that. Really, really nice. But everyone joins in, and it feels like, to me, in the Brady Bunch movie, when everyone starts copying Marsha's dance, doing the thumbs.
Okay.
You seen the Brady Bunch movie?
Nope.
Oh, mate. Here's the clip.
Thank you, girl, for making the winter warmer. Girl, for making the music softer.
Okay.
Pretty good, hey?
That was awesome.
It was great. It was great.
That's how the podcast works. That's not how the podcast works. But yeah, and then they bring Dancing Through Life to a close. And
But their friendship to an open.
That was scandalous. But very quickly, we don't get too much time to breathe because we just get another banger. We just get another banger.
So they're swapping secrets. Fiona and I are getting married. It's like, oh, he asked you? No, he doesn't know yet. Really, really fun.
Well, it is a secret to everybody.
And then when Elphaba doesn't have a worthy enough secret, well, that's not fair. I told you a really good one. And then just like the collapse and the look back to make sure, are you looking at me doing this? Real good.
Yes.
Real good. But yeah, you're right. We get popular.
Yeah, so Stephen Schwartz wanted this to be a hip-hop number, but Ariana Grande was like, no.
Hip-popular.
I'm going to be hip-popular. I'm going to be hip-popular. Singing my best Ariana Grande voice. But
really good.
basically she says, like, I don't want to be Ariana Grande doing Galinda. I want to be Galinda. And they're like, okay, we'll just keep it pretty much as is. Obviously, there's a few different little flicks around and stuff like that and sitting on certain lyrics a little bit longer and everything.
They both had their own flares to the character.
100%, but this is, like, incredible. You mentioned as well the little reference to the ruby slippers when she picks them up. She taps them together 3 times.
Ah, I did not realize that.
And it's on beat.
That's great.
So-
I will mention too, if you're hearing interference in the audio, it started raining quite heavily here.
Quite heavily.
And we're under a tin roof. So that might enter into the feed. But
that is
we
it.
power through.
We do. That's what we do.
But we also forgot to mention before Popular that we find out a lot of the guilt that Elphaba has been harboring because due to her skin color being green, her dad basically force-fed her mum milk flowers, and that is what has caused Nessa Rose to be in a wheelchair, but also, I think, caused the death of her mother.
Yep.
So, she feels responsible for that, and I really like how Galinda kind of takes that burden off her, or attempts to. It says, like, that's not your fault. That's the milk flower's fault. Like, it's a very, like, innocent... naive kind of attitude to it, but it's really sweet as well. And yeah, we get Popular. And I think the best part about Popular for me is it's like a little kid just running around with her parents' costume jewelry, like her mum's stuff, sliding on the floor and like waving the wand, but nothing's like working. It's not a neat song. She throws the wand up, doesn't catch it.
Yep.
It's really, really fun. There's things she tries, like putting the glasses on her. And I'm going to put these right back on you. Like everything she does, she's like, nope, that's not working for you. Let me try something else. And we get like the ball gown.
Fall gown.
Ariana Grande is at her best here. I think it's...
Can you give me your best tuss?
I mean, it's just like, what, like, toss? There we go.
Spot on. I love his commitment to the
There
bit.
we go.
It's real good.
That's just a good opportunity to take the hat off for a second.
Yeah, fair. Breathe. Let that head breathe.
Got a lot of hair on it there.
I also like when she's like, the simple throat. Boop. Just gives her a little boop.
Just a little boop. Just a little boop of the snort.
But Elphaba's too overwhelmed by their new friendship, and she has to get on out of there, and then we get the final little bit of Popular where she's just running through the hallway.
Yeah. La, 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 la.
La la lying.
It's after such a big moment of positivity, it's we get a moment of quite a bit of regret and sadness because it's old Dilla's last day, and Dr. Diller.
Dr. Diller.
Jay Diller. He's not permitted to teach. He's being taken away, basically, and he's trying to, sort of say something to the class, but immediately we've got a set of guards who come in along with Settle's character. What's it called again?
Coddle.
Old Coddle is basically like, hey, this is what's happening, guys.
Head Shistress.
And she's come in and, old Diller's been taken away. And basically what's brought in is a little caged animal. And what type of animal is it, Mr. Brown?
Oh, it's a lion, but would you describe it as cowardly? In that cage, looks pretty scared.
They're pretty scared.
So this is the origin story of the Cowardly Lion. And there's parts of this film where I am like, oh, that's a fun detail. Like, I like learning this information. But we've talked about this heaps of times before when you get almost like a prequel to a series and they try and justify and explain every single detail.
Like in Solo.
This one's fine. This one's totally fine. I'm not sure I needed to see the origin of how they picked the color of the yellow brick road, but there's just some details that feel really crammed in there. But I like the lion, and I like that there's a bit of a connection to the characters. It does make you kind of wonder, is this just a prequel to The Wizard of Oz, or is it almost like a bit of a spin-off because some of the relationships between the characters don't quite go straight from one into the next when you look at it in the big scheme of things. But it's a really nice moment because you've got this really evil character coming in and trying to exploit the animal and say, oh, if you keep them in cages, they never learn how to speak. And then Elphaba goes, can you imagine a world where animals are kept in cages and never learn to speak? It's a bit on the nose.
Yeah, and also
I can.
You can.
Yeah. We're in it.
We're in the world.
Have you seen this room?
Yes, we're in it.
One thing that's also clear to see, and a good thing, that Elphaba is really quick to sort of react to what's going on, but Galinda's not. Mm-hmm. She's still very much aware of. She's sitting on the fence a little bit about everything, and basically, they don't have to think about it too much longer because they get knocked unconscious because of the old poppies.
Yeah, that's a nice reference.
I like
reference
that.
to Wizard of Oz.
Yep, and
the teacher passes out into the blackboard. Real good.
It's good, but the only ones who aren't knocked out are Fiera and Elphaba.
Mm-hmm. So they go.
Why isn't Fiera knocked out?
Because love conquers all.
Okay.
We learnt that from Harry Potter.
Moving on.
So he's the one that initiates setting the lion free, which is really nice. He's not just like going along with it.
No, he instigates it.
Yeah, and it kind of sets off a whole change of character for him as well in terms of him wanting to take a stand from this point onwards. Mm-hmm. They go, and I really like how they're riding the bike with the lion in the basket at the back. It's a real like Mrs. Gulch moment from The Wizard of Oz.
True, good point.
She basically confronts him and says, like, you don't have to pretend to be shallow and self-absorbed. And he's like, there is no pretense here. I happen to be very self-absorbed and deeply shallow.
Does.
And then we get I'm Not That Girl.
Good one, underrated tune.
I agree. It's really interesting because I know it's about self-doubt. Like, I'm not that girl as in I'm not as good as Glinda. But I kind of like to think of it as like I'm not that girl as in I'm not going to betray my friend by making a move as well. And I actually think the symbolism in the song works better for that interpretation.
Okay.
Because in the forest, it's a lot of green and pinks together, like for their friendship. And even like for me, Fiera's color is blue.
Yes.
And we see blue flowers. And as she's singing I'm Not That Girl, they bloom and turn pink, like kind of showing that her friendship with Galinda is more important than her pursuing that.
Very good.
Yeah, right?
Good film analysis, mate.
Thanks. I'm a media teacher. I don't know if you...
Oh, my God. Superb stuff.
Oh, dear.
Very, very good. We get end of I'm Not That Girl, and the day has come that basically little balloons arrive with a message. And
a little seal with the symbols.
Love that. Elphaba has been invited to see the wizard. She's off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Oh, my gosh. Everyone goes to the train station to kind of see her off. Yep. And Elfie, the train is here. And it came with the cutest little man with a mustache. Very good. The reason she changes her name is because she can kind of see some of the sparks between Fiero and Elphaba. Basically, he's talking about the day with the lion, and he's like, that day meant a lot to me. I still think about it a lot. And then she steps in like, oh, me too, me too, me too. But yes, to show that she's just as passionate about that and everything that happened with Dillerman, she offers to change her name so that it's the same way he mispronounced it. Glinda.
Yeah. That's solidarity if I've ever seen it.
Oh, yeah. Drop the guh.
Drop the
Cleaner.
Cleaner. Thanks, Justin Timberlake.
Drop the. Just Facebook. It's cleaner.
Courage. That's bravery right there.
Yeah. But the instant regret when she's calling herself Glinda and she's like, oh, it's Glinda now. Stupid.
Don't be upset, Glinda.
It's Glinda now. Stupid.
Stupid. Idiot. Oh, God. But that's okay. She doesn't have to think about it for too much longer.
They do their little, like, nice goodbye hand. It's pretty
she's,
cute.
She's like, all right, you're coming with me.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't possibly. This is your moment. I'm coming.
I'm going. Yeah, that's fine.
It's all in the one sentence.
All there, and we get one short day.
One short day.
In the Emerald City.
A fun dance here too. Alternative dance again, but a very different style. And I like that they show the differences between Shiz and Oz.
Yes.
And this is where we get the big cameo.
Oh, huge.
Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth as the original Elphaba and the other one. Glinda, thanks.
The one that you're dressed as.
Yeah.
Big cheer in the cinema when I went and saw it. Oh, wow.
It was pretty cool. I especially like that Idina Menzel does the final.
Yeah.
Because you know how she also played George of the Jungle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello. You sound like an elastic band in a Looney Tunes cartoon.
What a comparison. That's good.
But you can understand, though.
I could really see it.
Yeah, the elasticity. Just something like ricocheting back.
Whenever I see Idina Menzel, I just think of the train wreck of John Travolta.
The wickedly talented Adele Dazeem. It's the best. It's the best thing in the world.
Please welcome the wickedly talented one and only Adele Dazeem.
Unbelievable.
Oh, God.
The wickedly talented, because she's in Wicked, the musical Wicked, and I can't say her name.
I'm glad you got one detail right.
Wickedly talented.
Oh, so good. So good. Anyway, that's a fun cameo. We get some dudes in rubber overalls with no arms dancing around.
We do. I do like the fact that there's almost like there's a few moments and just like looks and exchanges between sort of the Idina Menzel and Cynthia Erivo.
I think you mean Adele Menzel.
Adele, wickedly talented Adele Dazeem, and can't believe actually we haven't mentioned who's actually playing Elphaba, Cynthia Erivo. And also as well between Kristen Chenoweth and Ariana Grande, it's like a very visible kind of like passing of the torch.
It is,
and it looks cool, and you can tell that like
Chenoweth does kind of shut her up. Up.
Yeah.
We get this one moment in the film. Let us have it.
Let me cook, she says, which is fantastic. But yeah, the whole performance is great, and now it's time to meet the wizard.
It is. I like they pass the guard monkeys as they're going in. Mm-hmm. It's very ominous. They seem quite serious. And the puppet, which actually is a puppet of Jeff Goldblum's head. They did like a
really
3D model of it, and then they designed it, and it's a practical thing. They probably went in and like touched it up with CG, but that was something that they had built on set, which is really cool.
It looks incredible. Mm-hmm. And very quickly after the wizard works out who it is, and Jeff pops out and introduces himself and says, "Hey, yeah, I'm the wizard. I'm Jeff Goldblum." It's just very much like Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldhead.
Jeff Goldhead. That's what they call me.
Dotes over Elphaba and
couldn't give
Snubs,
a damn
Glinda.
about.
Yeah, then he shows him his model.
Hey, look at this cool model I got here.
It's like, I'm in here by myself a lot, just playing it.
Yeah, just
I was thinking of Spaceballs. Like, knock! I told you to knock!
Lord help me! What? You need it on the bridge, sir. Knock on my door! Knock next time! Yes, sir. Did you see anything? No, sir. I didn't see you playing with your dolls again. Good!
But he gladly shows everyone this one.
He does.
Yeah, it's really cool. Obviously, we get... I just don't know what colour road this is going to be. The Ruby Brick Road. the blue brick road,
Lame.
the purple brick road, the green brick road, but the yellow brick road.
I do like that she gets almost an opportunity. He's like, would you like me to turn you a traditional color? And she's like, nah, I'm good with green now. I want to help the animals. And so she's had a lot of like character development, because earlier on in The Wizard and I, she even says like, oh, and if he offers to change my skin color, I'll say yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
But this is really cool because we've seen, and Glinda's probably been a big contributing factor to that in terms of her making her feel accepted as she is.
Yes.
So yeah, really nice that she has had this change. But then old Marvel comes in.
Yes, she does, and it turns out that they want her to be able to, because we get a little bit sort of during Chenoweth and...
Sorry, I've skipped Goldblum's song. I think it's wishful thinking. I wish I had skipped it while I was watching it.
A sentimental
man. Yeah, I'm not sentimental about this song.
That's okay. We'll move right on.
Big old snooze fest.
It's not the best song in the film.
I like that he goes behind a screen, though, so his double can dance for him. It's not even a complicated dance.
Apparently for Jeff it was. But basically they want her, they want Elphaba, which was sort of foreshadowed in the performance of Chenoweth and Dazim in the previous scene.
Wickedly talented.
The wickedly talented book, the Grimmery.
The Grimmery.
But yeah, they wanted to sort of use the Grimmery, which seems like it's like the old school like sort of magic book. But basically,
it's a cool design. I love the triangle folding out.
And it looks sick. And basically, no one can read it, but Elphaba can. So
instantly.
Yeah. So clearly, she's all powerful. And then she's sort of like flipping through, and then one of the monkeys comes over and helps it to grow wings, and it turns it into the winged monkeys.
I love the look of the wings coming off the page as well.
Good, yeah.
So this part I'm a little torn about because I was really looking forward to this moment in the film. I loved this moment in the stage show. It's so dark, and it's still dark in the film, but I almost wanted it to be
darker,
even more confronting. It's not necessarily when it happens to this monkey, but it's when we see it happening to all the other monkeys. I remember that evil monkey, flying monkey theme that comes in being so haunting when you saw it on stage, and there's this big reveal, like the curtain opens and there's all this scaffolding with them just like jumping up and down with it playing and red lights coming in. Yeah. It's wicked when you see it, but that doesn't necessarily carry over into the film.
Because very quickly, like, all right, everyone else is, because you can kind of hear them in the background.
Yeah, but the theme does come in, but it's quite, like, it's quiet because there's dialogue and Glinda and Elphaba are talking at the same time.
Yes.
It's like when they're running through the hallway kind of thing.
This is kind of where it all blows up, that we realise that Morrible and the wizard are behind what's been going on with the animals.
Yes, trying to unite everyone through a common enemy. So making the animals seem like the bad guys so that everyone else will come together.
Exactly, and be basically under his rule as a dictator. And then she also works out and is heartbroken that he's not actually magical at all.
Correct. I was thinking of the Labyrinth. You have no power over me. Very similar delivery.
True.
You have no power over me.
You have no real power.
And once the reveal happens, they don't really sugarcoat it for her at all. They give themselves away very quickly and make no attempt.
The jig is up.
Yeah, but make no attempt to like seem like they're doing a good thing. They're just like, want to join us? We're evil.
How about no?
You crazy wizard bastard.
But she's off. She takes the Grimmery with her and runs down the hallway.
Yes, despite Morrible gets the monkeys to chase after.
How good is that slow-mo shot where she turns around and all the monkeys are like flying in the back? Oh, it's incredible.
That's
really
great.
Good.
And then smashing into the glass and everything in pursuit. It's great. It really picks up here. It's fantastic. You really, really enjoy this. And Glinda's sort of basically trying to run after Elphaba, and they go into the sort of the tower.
Yeah, the balloon is a nice moment as well. And she's basically just trying to convince her. She's like, it's okay, let's settle down. We can still fix this. We can go back. And I like that even though they're arguing about it at first, they come to sort of like a common understanding where they're like, you're going to stay, I'm going to go and like fight this, but I respect your decision, you respect mine, and we're still good friends.
Yep. It's super powerful.
Yeah, so it goes from them singing, I hope you're happy, as like, you're a selfish person and you've ruined this for me, to, no, I genuinely hope you're happy. And it's really good writing.
It really is. And obviously this goes into, the song that everyone knows this musical for.
Defying Gravity
A sentimental man.
Got him. With the wickedly talented
Jeff Goldblum. Good stuff.
So Defying Gravity, I mean, it's incredible. It's so good from start to finish. The jump across, the falling, like that's so hectic. And then when she just hits that point on the building and then sees her younger self. There's a couple of things in the song though where I'm like, why don't they get her to sit on the broom? She just kind of holds it out in front of her.
Yeah.
Which, I guess they're trying to do their own thing with it, but it looks a little funky, I thought.
Okay.
And her cloak gets about 5 times longer once she starts flying.
Powerful cloak.
I watched a recreation of this with little Lego figurines, and they're doing the whole intro to the song, and then once it starts flying, there's like a full blanket attached to the character.
I like that. That's good.
Very funny. But just incredible. It looks so good. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, and like this, this is the song that brings the first act to a close. So it brings the movie to the
chills
close.
to our bodies.
Yeah, and Cynthia Erivo's performance of it is just mind-blowingly good. Obviously, both actors were very intent on singing live on set for this, which is great. I always
it adds so much more in terms of the emotion.
100%, and it's just awesome. Like everyone kind of knew and had heard sort of this performance even before the movie got released. So and obviously her sort of change of like the wicked war cry, essentially the big belt, is a little bit different.
A couple of people are like, oh, but I'm so used to the original one. It's like, yeah, but she's got to put her own spin on it.
And now I'm very used to this.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I'm used to it from you singing it earlier.
You're welcome.
From watching George of the Jungle so many times.
Yep, that's me. Love a bit of Brendo. But yeah, it brings the movie to a close really well, sets up things really nicely for the sequel. Yeah. Obviously, because everyone is now turned against, they have their common enemy. It's not the animals, it's the Wicked Witch.
Mm-hmm. And it's really cool. Like once the light sort of came up in the cinema, had the exact same feeling as what I had at intermission when I saw the live show.
Yeah, you're just buzzing.
You are so excited to see part 2. I'm really glad that they divided it into 2 films.
Me too.
Sometimes that can feel like it's stretching things out, but also if you really enjoy the film, get 2 movies.
Get 2 of them. 2 Wickeds for the price of 1.
Wow.
2 wickedly talented movies for the price of 1 ticket.
So yeah, you can tell we love this, and what's not to love, really? Like, this is why Film Club was so popular last week, and it was buzzing. It's incredible.
It rips. And yeah, we did the film, for a specific reason.
Yes,
obviously,
Ida Hobbit Week at our school.
Yeah, and it's we thought this was a really good choice to celebrate, differences and diversity,
and accepting people that are different, and it's really got some positive messages behind it.
100%.
And it was so cool to have such a following in Film Club that were there for all the right reasons. Yeah, just lovely.
The vibe was exceptional. So thanks to everyone for coming along to what was a really special film club and a good way to bring Ida Hobbit Week to a close.
100%.
And yeah, we've enjoyed talking about this movie.
We have. Cool. Shall we move on to weekly watches?
Let's do it.
Weekly watches. Weekly watches. I love you.
Alrighty, so I only have 3 films on my list today. How many do you have, mate?
I've got 3 films and a series.
Oh, okay. Well, what's interesting about my 3 films, all seen in the last week, but my top 3 films for 2025 so far.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it's been a good week for me. It's no secret that I haven't been particularly overwhelmed or even whelmed by the films of 2025.
Not alone in that either. So
yeah, and look, I'm hoping that there's going to be some other ones that give these 3 a run for their money, because I wouldn't have necessarily thought that some of these would have made the top of the list, but so far they've been great, and I want to kick things off with one I was really pleasantly surprised with, and that's Final Destination Bloodlines. So a couple on my list today that you still haven't seen, Bloodlines?
No, I have not.
Okay, so a couple on my list that you haven't seen, and obviously because these are relatively new films, I'm not going to do any sort of spoilers for them, but I really enjoyed this. I've seen all of the Final Destination films, but I would say after the first film, my enthusiasm for them has waned significantly. Even though I think there are some stronger entries and some not so strong entries, I think this might be my favorite since the original. I'd probably have to go back and revisit them, which I'm not really prone to do. I've seen the first two a lot because I own them on DVD, and horror was just a bit of fun. And
Ali Larter's in both
of them. Yeah, that helps. But I thought the characters in this were really likable. And one of the strengths of that is that I felt like in the other films, you get introduced to a group of insufferable people, and the joy comes from watching those insufferable people go through these traumatic incidents.
Yes.
Whereas
1,000,000%.
the film becomes far more enjoyable, I think,
when you care.
if you like the people and you don't want them to go through those incidents, because then the tension is actually there. You're hoping they survive. You're like, well, if someone's going to go, I hope it's not my favorite one. So that was a real source of enjoyment for me in terms of the suspense.
Nice.
But also, it's one of the funnier entries in the franchise, which sometimes I think they try to lean into that and don't quite get there.
Didn't quite see it.
Even some of the kills are quite amusing in that regard. They also try something a little bit different with the Bloodlines angle of it. And so, yeah, there was just enough about this film where I was like, yeah, they're trying things. It's fun. It's different. I had a good time. I would happily go and revisit this one before I'd go back to some of the other ones in the franchise. So, yeah, really, really happy with Final Destination Bloodlines.
Nice one. I'll talk about one of the movies I have seen in cinemas as well, and that's Thunderbolts.
The film's so nice, you saw it twice.
It is. Thunderbolts asterisk, and we all should know by now what that asterisk does mean.
By all means, say it.
The new Avengers. You haven't seen it yet, so obviously I'm not going to unpack how it gets that name. But it's really fantastic. It's directed by Jake Schreier, who did Beef, which I haven't seen, but everyone raves about.
It's really good.
So I want to give that a watch. But it's just great. It feels like my Letterboxd review, I think my start of the review was like, I think we might be back. Like, I think Marvel might be back. Nah. The cinema's been back, but I think Marvel might be back.
Cinema is back with one of our entries on the list.
A bit of foreshadowing me, mate. Thunderbolts is great. I had a really, really good time with it. A lot of it is because of Florence Pugh, and she's brilliant. And I'm really hoping they continue to make her a real prominent figure in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because I think she's definitely one of the best, like, in terms of like acting talents working in that space. And I hope that she keeps wanting to do these films, because we get, every bit of Yelena Belova we've seen in Black Widow and in Hawkeye has been really enjoyable. But spending a lot more time with this character was just, phenomenal. So her and her relationship with David Harbour's Red Guardian is really sort of the lifeblood of the film, but also a relationship with the other characters. I think Wyatt Russell coming back as John Walker is great. Hannah John Kamen as Ghost doesn't have as much to do, but what she does is really fun. And we have a good time, obviously, with Sebastian Stan as Bucky, Winter Soldier, if you want to go with it. And like all the other characters are really good. Lewis Pullman, his debut, oh man, he's great. He's just really, really good as Bob, who obviously becomes a different character as the film goes on. What they do with that character is really fun. They change the origin of the character slightly, but in a way that very much makes sense and also connects with the themes of the movie really well. And it made me really enjoy the last third of this film, where it doesn't descend into like a, big fight against bad guy, beam in the sky stuff. It felt quite unique in that way. And probably one of the more impactful post-credit scenes we've seen in a Marvel movie for quite some time, with a big time jump. So worth checking that out. But I think, Thunderbolts works well. The comedy's good. The action's fun in terms of the set pieces. And I'm quite excited again for Marvel, which I probably wasn't before going in to see this film.
Totally fair. Totally fair. Next up, we'll talk about a shared film. Oh. So we were suggesting Cinema is back because Sinners is one that we have both seen and
the Cougs new film.
Both loved. Yeah. So this could be my favorite film of the year so far. This one and my last one that I'm going to talk about, neck and neck.
Okay. This is my clear favorite of the year.
Yeah. Fair, totally fair. And I'll elaborate a little more when I reveal what my final film is. But this was great. This was really, really good. I do kind of want to mention something that's a little on the spoiler territory, but I feel like it was released in the trailers.
About like what these characters are.
Yeah.
What they have to go up against.
Do you think that's safe?
They have to go up against a variation of Creatures of the Night.
Let's say that.
That's
pretty clear what it is. But anyway, so we get Michael B. Jordan, but also Michael A. Jordan in this film.
Or B+ Jordan.
B+ Jordan, sorry. Really good. Incredible in both roles. He's playing twins. And one thing that I mean, it's a big year for twin films with the Monkey.
The Monkey.
I don't know if you don't watch You, but they had a twin character in that this season as well. I feel like there was a couple of other ones in the mix.
I was going to say, you've named 3 media products. A big year for twins.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 I wouldn't say big. I'd say
There's more. Year. There's more, I promise.
Okay.
Okay. I'll put them on the screen.
all twins films. They've done a remake with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
Wouldn't that be great?
Not really.
Anyway, no, there are more than 3, and I will reveal them all. Okay. But one thing that I have found has been distracting in products with twins in it previously is when you can't really tell the difference between the two characters. They don't have distinct personalities because they're being played by the same actor who doesn't necessarily have the range to be able to play them in different ways.
But Michael B. Jordan does.
100%.
Yeah.
And the other thing, the effects are incredible.
Oh,
so
man.
you're not distracted. It's not like watching The Flash.
No, like that first shot when handing the cigarette, I was like, what?
Yeah.
What?
So lots of combined effects that they use to make it seem seamless.
Yeah.
But he's really, really good in the role. The whole cast is incredible.
On fire.
Haley Steinfeld's awesome in it. So I think her relation to the character, because obviously there's a lot of racial tension in the film as well, and they are essentially opening up kind of like a speakeasy, a jazz juke joint. Thank you. And she is essentially the only white person that's there because her ancestor, I think her granddad was half black.
I think so, yeah. And they basically raise, for a period of time, the smokestack twins.
Yep. Smoke and Stack.
Yeah, Smoke and Stack. They spend time with Haley Steinfeld's family.
Yes, but what's really interesting that I only found out after I saw the film, Haley Steinfeld's ancestors exactly the same as how it's been presented in the film, which is just a really cool detail. There's lots of fun twists and turns in this movie. It does feel a little like From Dusk Till Dawn in the way that the first half of the film feels like a completely different thing to the second half of the film.
Which I didn't know like what to expect in terms of the pacing. I really liked the fact that we got to spend a lot of time with these characters before the proverbial hits the fan. And I really liked that. I really liked Miles Caton as Sammy. Was absolutely brilliant. The music in this movie is just, oh man.
The music and the cinematography. There's one sequence in particular that combines the two to perfection. And it's going to sound so stupid. It moves through you. During that sequence, you are completely sucked into the film. And it's such an incredible idea for a shot. And just go see it. It's really awesome. But yeah, the action's great. The social commentary is really nice.
Oh, it's such a thematically rich film. There's so much. I need to go see it again. Hopefully when it gets an IMAX re-release, I want to go see it. Yeah, there's just so much to unpack. Ryan Coogler and making magic with Michael B. Jordan is nothing unusual. And yeah, it's wildly a lot of people's best film of the year. So
yeah, and potentially mine, definitely yours.
Can't forget Jack O'Connell as well.
Oh, sorry.
My favourite performer from Skins, because I watched season 3 and 4 first, which is sacrilege. Cook. I do love Cook, and he's cooking in this film, Mr. Brown.
Very true.
Cool. Well, I'll go through my last film. It's Terrifier 3. I finally got around to watching it.
Right.
And it's
Terrifier 3, even more terrifying.
I mean, yeah, to a degree. I've started to become a little bit numb to these films. I've talked to people that are like, yeah, I threw up watching this, and I was like, I can see it. It's as a sequel does, it gets more fantastical and more bonkers. And there's some of the kills, I mean, like in Terrifier in general, a lot of the kills in these films are hard to watch at times. And there's a couple in this I was like, Jesus. It's a lot. What I really love about this film franchise in general is like the success it's had as a independent horror film in beating a lot of other films that have tremendously higher budgets than this. So I like what this film represents, but also as well that they've really leaned into the fact that obviously art's become more of a pop culture character. The film's like plot lines have got a little bit more sort of fantastical supernatural.
Right.
And it's really like fun. And also as well, this one's set at Christmas. So we have that additional element where art's doing some holiday stuff with, in particular, bar scene with the Santa Claus. It's pretty gnarly. But yeah, I really love all the characters in this. Lauren Lavera is probably one of the best modern final girls of all time. I think I'd have her right up there with Jamie Lee and Neve Campbell. I think she's that good. They're just really fun horror films that I can't recommend enough to people, as long as you can stomach a little bit of gore. And when I say a little, I mean a lot of gore. But yeah, it was good to watch Terrifier 3. I can't wait for Terrifier 4. So.
Nice. My last one is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Oh.
Whether it'll actually be the final reckoning, time will tell. But this is a film that I'm really torn about. So obviously, I've already mentioned the fact that it's ranked amongst my top 3 of this year.
Yes.
But what's tricky about this is it's a good film. But because this franchise means so much to me, and because most of the films in this franchise are such good films, in my opinion, it means I almost hold it to a higher standard.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so it's not that I didn't enjoy it, but just because of what I've come to expect from these films, I had a lot of expectations, really high hopes for it, and I'm not sure it met those hopes.
Okay.
One thing that hinders it a little bit, because it is continuing on from Dead Reckoning Part 1, if it's still called that, it very much spends a lot of time expo martying at the beginning to try and catch people up, like previously on Mission Impossible.
Expo hunt.
And it doesn't just do that with Dead Reckoning Part 1, but it also kind of does that with the rest of the franchise. Like, we're going to make references to the other films for you diehard fans out there, but you're not diehard enough to already get those references, so we're going to explain all of them to you. And it's a lot of like flashbacks and actually spelling things out. And yeah, I found that frustrating as a big fan, because I'm like, you don't need to do that. Like, if people miss some of those details, it's no big deal. They can still enjoy this film for what it is. And I just found that it made the start go quite slow. And they don't have like a traditional cold open that they would have for a Mission Impossible. So
disgusting.
It takes a good chunk of time before any sort of action or missions start up. And that's not what I'm used to for a Mission Impossible film. And I don't think it's necessarily what the fans want. They want to go in there and like immediately be sucked into it. By the time the title card drops, you're like, oh, okay, we're off, but we're not quite racing.
We're moving.
Yeah. And I thought there were some odd choices in the films. And it's so intense because of the stakes of this film that you don't get some of those lighter moments that you get in those team building, those bonding type moments between the team that you would be used to getting in some of the other entries. So despite the fact that the latter half of the film brings it home really strong, like some epic stunts and tension in particular, like the suspense, I felt anxious watching it. Despite the fact that you're watching a film where you're like, look, I'm sure they probably will save the world, but what if they don't?
What if they don't? It's the final reckoning after all.
That part I really appreciated, but there was just some dead time at the start and a lot of talking to kind of catch people up, which I found a little frustrating.
That's fair. That's totally fair. I'm keen to see it and see how much I'm dragged down in the muck in the first part of the film.
But I also think just getting a heads up about that might take away a lot of the disappointment for it.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm here for you, man.
Last one for me on my weekly watches. It's been over multiple weeks because it's not something I really wanted to binge through. It was a lot to get through, not in terms of hours, but in terms of thematically. I finally got around to watching Adolescence, which was certainly
me too in the last week. So,
it was certainly like the water cooler. There's always like a show or something on Netflix that everyone's talking about, and probably like the early part of this year, came out like in February, I think, maybe, or March. That's what everyone was talking about. And I wanted to sort of sit down and watch it and hadn't got around to it. And I was like, now's the time. And very immediately hooked in. Like, obviously, with the nature of how the show is made, with every show being a continuous one take or a one-er.
For about an hour's worth of time.
It's crazy. And it's, I mean, I was talking to actually one of my Year 9 students about this. And he was talking about 1917, which is where
has the appearance of a one-up,
yes, but
hidden cuts.
Correct. And because I don't find like war films that engaging a lot of the time because it's a very far removed concept, and a lot of the time like one-ers are designed to bring you into the world a little bit more, so it's almost quite voyeuristic.
Yep.
I found a lot more sort of, I was a lot more engaged with Adolescence than I was with 1917. Immediately dropped into like the start of an arrest, and basically what's happened is they're arresting a young boy, school-aged child, who's murdered someone, or that's what they're basically
that's
the charges.
The setup, yeah.
Yes. So, and then that whole first episode is basically the start of that arrest and bringing him into the police station. And then we get time with Stephen Graham, who helped create the show and also stars in it as his dad, who's terrific. I love Stephen Graham, one of my favorite actors.
He is really good.
He explains and the showrunners talk about it. It's not a whodunit, but a why done it. And
yeah, and you don't necessarily even get all of those answers.
And you don't, because I spoke to people who were really frustrated by how unfinished it feels, but I think that's a why, again, so obviously with the voyeuristic part and feeling really included and immersed in this, the reality is that with a event like this, closure doesn't happen. And nor should it probably feel like it happens for a lot of characters or a lot of people who are attached to an event like this. So the fact that we get to spend time in the school, which is a really hard thing to watch at times, particularly obviously in our profession, then with the psychiatrist, and then finally with the family bringing it to a close. Which is, like, I mean, even just by the tone of the sigh, like, it just wrecks you some of the last shots.
The family episode was the hardest to watch, but because of that, maybe one of the best episodes. I heard from a lot of people that they found the family one to be a bit slow because you have those sustained shots in the car. But
that's brilliant as a result of that.
100%, because you get to see them go through almost mini tragedies in the day. And them kind of be like, no, we've got to pull ourselves back. We've got to be positive. And then something else happens and they defeat it again. And it's unrelenting. Right till the credits play, it gets worse and worse, and it's really tough to watch. I think that was probably the one that had the most emotional impact on me, but I think my favorite episode was the psychiatrist one.
I think so too. I think that
the performances.
Owen Cooper, who's the young actor who plays Jamie, is quite terrifying during that episode. And like obviously I've done a bit of like teaching about sort of like incel culture and stuff in other subjects before, and this is, you know, like very sort of typical sort of behavior. And I watched this with my mum, and she was like, I was like, what is this? And I was explaining what it is, and she's like, oh God. I was like, and a lot of that sort of, you know, is portrayed quite exceptionally during this particular scene where we do the least amount of moving around. It is claustrophobic. You are stuck in this environment with this psychiatrist and with this person who has killed another young person.
Both of them even said that if they had the choice, that would be their preferred way of shooting anything that they do in future. Because they just felt like they could get such real performances out of themselves. And you even see, like, you and I both watched a lot of the behind the scenes videos when they're talking about it, and they're kind of discussing, remember how this never happened before, and then it just happened on that final take, and everything locked in, it was perfect. There's some really, really great behind the scenes like details and videos on YouTube. Definitely check them out because it makes the watch all the more interesting in terms of how they went about doing it. But yeah, just incredible. A very good shout.
Yeah, I think that like some similarly actors are like, I hope this does open the door for some other filmmakers to adopt maybe a similar approach. Whether like I'd be fine if there was like another Adolescence with like a almost in like the same way, something like a Netflix show like the Sinner like has been like in terms of like different cases and stuff like that. I'd be really interested in like a something else that maybe like affects a different community or a different school, where maybe with a younger child or an older child or whatever it would be. If it's going to be filmed like this, I think that Stephen Graham's really found something here, and it's really terrific and was worth very much the hype it got upon its release, and really glad I found the time to watch it.
Yeah, nice, cool. That's all for you? Amazing. Well, as always, guys, please do remember to like, subscribe, share it around. We'd love some suggestions for future films. I think we're stepping back from video for a bit, unless we get enough demand. If you comment and you're like, video.
It's like, okay, we'll relent.
All right, yeah.
We'll do it. I'll wear a hat again. God.
But also, if you can, hit the little thumbs up icon, that very much helps us. But on that note, kiss us goodbye. We're defying gravity. Thanks, guys, and catch you at the next film club.
You're the shiz.